take your time. Take your time because there's so much pressure to like immediately decide what you're going to do with your whole life. You know, I wish like at the time that I had maybe taken a gap year, right, or done a victory lap or something at the end of high
Hmm.
school because like I was so in that mentality of like, oh, I'm going to go to business school, then I'm going to get a law degree, and then I'm going to do whatever. I wound up getting talked out of going and getting a law degree by my third year business law professor. Love her to bits. No, no, it was a really, really nice, sweet moment where she was just like, she kind of like just disillusioned me, like broke down like what the actual career path would look like. And she's like,
Mm.
I don't think this is right for you. I'm like, honestly, yeah, thank you. Like it wasn't like mean. I was like one of her
Mm.
favorite students. I had like a 94 in the class.
Damn.
That's what took me aback. I was like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I'm doing so good in this. But yeah, I think taking your time and then again, like perfect is the enemy of good. Like just do stuff.
Hey.
What's shaking?
What's going on, man? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Do I
Yeah, of
sound,
course.
are my levels coming in good?
Yeah, you're coming a little hot. Do you have
A little hot? Oh yeah, yeah. I can go
maybe like
down.
gain or something?
Yeah, yeah. How's that?
Yeah,
Is that
that sounds
better?
better. I had to
Sweet.
I just got my buddy bought me a new webcam because I officiated his wedding, so that was like his gift to me for
Oh,
for doing
nice.
that.
Hell
And
yeah.
then but the problem was is like it was all through this Logitech G Hub thing that was so new to me, and I didn't realize that it added my Yeti mic as like this other piece to the recording,
Ah,
and it
okay.
changed. I had to like go into a Reddit thread because it I did a podcast with Greg Stone, and he's like, "You sound like you're in like a tin can," and I was
No, you
like,
sound great today. You sound great
"Okay,
right now.
good, good, good," because I was like, "Oh, it sounds good on my end," and then I listened back to the recording, I was like, "Oh, that does sound awful."
Yeah, I'm worried. Just let me know if I continue to sound good because
Yeah.
I haven't dusted the I have a Motu M2. I've got like the just the stupid like I forget I even forget what it's called. Audio interface. There you go. I
Oh,
have an audio
okay, nice.
interface that I bought like 5 years ago during the pandemic,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
and haven't done shit with it since. I used it to like I was just like, oh, I want to actually stand up when I do Zoom comedy, so I like would plug in just my SM58, which
Right.
looks like it almost looks like I'm censoring a dick in my face,
God, it does.
right? I could let me because
The
like
way that it,
if I don't do if I get rid of the blur,
yeah.
then you kind of just see like random shit.
Yeah. You see happy
I'm
birthday in the background?
Yeah, which I literally haven't taken down. That was for my girlfriend's birthday
Oh, nice.
on the like way mid fucking this J June, mid June, and it's
Nice.
still up there.
Yeah. It's just stayed up. You're like, yeah, whatever.
It's
No,
like,
that's
yeah,
fine.
it's there. It's a
Yeah.
staple.
I could even like usually when I do the podcast editing, I crop everything in nice and tight, and then even when it goes to just you talking, it's like who cares what's behind you, honestly.
Yeah, well, I think I saw on your Instagram too that like you have like your own cool background anyways.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I
like
frame
whatever.
it in.
Yeah. Is purple okay? I can change my shirt
Oh yeah,
color
no, no,
too.
you're good. You're
Yeah.
good. Yeah, so
Yeah, I was gonna wear a blue one, then like, no, that's a bad idea.
what how do you pronounce your last name?
Yeah, Zeitz. Z-E,
Zeitz.
yeah, Zeitz. Yeah.
So for
Unlike,
people,
oh,
sorry,
sorry, go
unlike
ahead.
what? Unlike what?
Oh, I was gonna say, unlike the CBC that called me Zayat,
Zeitz.
they got my name right the second go, but nobody
Okay.
actually. They asked me on the phone like a week or like 4 days before the interview, and I pronounced it and even gave them like a phonetic spelling of it.
Yeah.
And then nobody asked me like on the day of, and they botched it. I'm like, I'm not gonna like lead off, just be like, well, actually, Mr. CBC, sir,
Yeah,
you fucked
yeah.
up my name.
This interview is over and just end
I'm
it right
walking
there.
out. I'm done. You're
I don't need
interviewing me for
you.
the dumbest thing alive. But yeah,
Yeah. Isn't that just the internet today? So for people just tuning in and they don't know, Ryan is a comedian and a mental health advocate, and you've recently gained traction online for just working from Canada's Wonderland. Where did the idea come to you when you were like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get out of the house and I'm gonna go somewhere? And how did you arrive at Canada's Wonderland? Were there other places you tried before then? And sort of walk me through what that exploration was like for you.
First and foremost, I'm glad you said fuck too, because I was going to actually ask you
You're good.
if.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is the internet, baby. We can swear all we want.
Well, I try and be very careful, like on my TikToks, like at Wonderland, because
Right,
like they do
yeah.
have a profanity clause, and I've been
Oh,
trying to like play really nice with Daddy Wonderland and make sure that I'm not
right,
like ruffling feathers and stuff. Because some
right.
kids do watch the material. I've got some like innuendo on it, but
Uh,
this is the ADHD in me. That's a sidetrack. The question you asked was how or why did I kind of come up with it? And the funny story is that there's a world where I wasn't even going to do it at all. I almost didn't buy a
isn't that
pass.
most creative ideas? There's always that thought where you're like, should I do this?
Oh, it was just meant to be for leisure, like at first. Like I was just like, oh, like I'll just go a couple because I haven't had a season's pass since like well before the pandemic.
Right.
Because when you're like an adult in your late 20s, early 30s now for me, like there aren't a lot of people like one, most of your friends live away and aren't like nearby, or if they do, like they live in the city. Like I live in the burbs, so everybody's in the city. Nobody really wants to go to
Mm,
Wonderland a whole bunch. So I was like, I even put out a Facebook post, I think on like July 15th. I was like, anybody like I'm thinking of getting this pass. It's a really good deal. Is anybody else interested? Would anybody want to go with me?
yeah.
And a couple people said yeah, and then obviously my partner Carly said yeah. And so then I was like, okay, cool, we bought it. But I didn't even get the top tier pass at the time. I just got the gold pass, which is like the middle tier. And then we went twice over the weekend, as soon as we got them, and it was just absurd. Like I felt I was in a cashless society and I was king. I could just
Ah,
like scan my stupid QR code and just
yeah,
get
yeah.
free food and drinks all day. And it was only after that first weekend on like the 25th, 26th that I was like, hmm, wait a second. Maybe I can like do something here because I've like really severe ADHD symptoms. I think I have 14 of the 16 diagnostic criteria according to the psychiatrist that diagnosed me.
Nice.
And so like for anybody who's listening who's not familiar with like ADHD stuff, there's this concept known as body doubling.
Mm,
And it's kind of like, when there are other people in a room, I have this extra level of accountability and motivation to get things done. Because there's so many distractions at home, you can watch
right.
Netflix, you gotta clean, you gotta, there's always something askew or whatever. Whereas when I'm out, like I've gotten productive work done in like cafes before and stuff, and I was
Yeah.
gonna start doing that more regularly until then it was only like, oh, wait, wonder now all my food and drinks are included. I could just go here. And then I made like a stupid video in the parking lot and was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna be here every day pretty much for the next year and a half because the pass is good until like the end of next December of 2026
That's
for like
awesome.
$400 and change.
Especially when you consider like how much, food and drink you're having to, because I worked from home too at the beginning of the pandemic until about, I don't know, it was probably like 2022, probably around there. No, I guess I did work for another company until like 2023. But yeah, working from home, I just found like I oddly had no energy. And it was like at the end of the workday, and I was like, what did I do? I just like sat in this chair in my office and I got up and I like made a sandwich. And there's really something too, like for me, I really thrive off of like other people's energy. So
Mhm.
if I'm in like a party setting or whatever, like I get energy from being around people, from talking to people, from like being excited to do something or whatever. So I totally understand what you're talking about it being too easy almost to just like, yeah, I'll go chill on the couch for a little bit and then I'll go back and do some work. And it's just kind of like this lazy, like moving from room to room to try to like maybe I'll be more productive at the kitchen counter. And like it never ends up working. You always like feel like the work is diminished. And the other thing that I hated about working from home was like you were accessible 24/7.
Mhm.
If something needed to be done at like 8 o'clock past when you're supposed to be off the clock, they would still message and be like, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? Hey, and you're like, well, no, because I'm not working. And then they view it as like, well, you work from home, it's right there. Just do it. Just jump on and do it really quick. And I think they're undermining the the mental capacity and strength that you have to just like, it sounds so stupid to people that haven't worked from home, but like really it does use a lot of brain power just fucking staring at a screen all day. And whatever it is that you're doing, you need breaks. Like, and in
Hmm.
a work setting, you have those social breaks where you're in a public space or you're in like an office or something.
I mean, that being said, I could never work in a fucking office. Like, office
I didn't
life is
like
not
it.
for me either. I've done it. It was
Yeah.
not for me. I lasted a couple months and was like, nope, I'm out. Some of it might have just been the company that it was, which now no
Yeah.
longer exists. So,
I think a
take from
lot
that
of
what
it
you
has to
will.
do with the culture of the business that you're doing and the setting. Like that was always my beef with like schools. Like I don't know how they expect us to learn at like you're right there at like 8:30 in the morning. You're under fluorescent lights in front of a teacher that like doesn't really care that much. Most teachers don't really give a shit. They're kind of just like going through the motions or whatever. And you've had like maybe cereal for breakfast and you're just not able to process any of the information. And then like it's like after you eat lunch, those afternoon classes were always so much easier. Your brain is finally woken up. You can actually absorb information. And same thing in an office setting. If you're just in like cubicles and fluorescent lighting and a depressing like lunchroom, the studio that I worked for in Toronto was like really cool because it was like they had rented out or they had leased out multiple different rooms within this kind of like a warehouse studio,
Okay.
and you were surrounded by like other creatives, people that were writing scripts and people that were filming videos, and so it was this constant like excitement to do
Hmm.
stuff. And I think that's really crucial in creating like a good working environment if you're in an office. And the same can be said to any type of business. Like it doesn't need to be making YouTube videos. Like you could work in an office space where it's a startup and they're really excited about the idea, and you're having these group meetings and brainstorming and whatnot. But the funniest was when someone said to you, like somebody, there's always one asshole that's like, find this guy's employer and get him fired. This is ridiculous. I'm like, you bitter little bitch sitting behind your phone, being like on your lunch break, like, fuck this guy. What does he know? Just go do
Oh,
it. Like, go just go to Canada's Wonderland and work from there.
there's definitely more than one asshole.
Oh, okay.
There's been a lot of, I mean, overwhelming. It's unbelievable. Like I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna get infinitely more hate than I have been
Yeah.
getting. The response has been probably like 98% positive,
That's
with a couple
amazing.
of like antagonists being like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, fuck you. You're gonna ruin this pass for everybody. They're gonna change the rules." And I'm like, not really. Like they have bean counters at the top who are doing all the math. For every one asshole like me who's like
Yeah.
abusing the system, there's 20,000 people who are paying them sticker price for everything
Yeah.
and going like twice.
And what do corporations love more than anything else? And social media works the same way. They want to keep you there. So if you're showing people like, hey, you could spend a whole day at Wonderland, they love that. That's just like music to their ears. That's why Walmart has a fucking hairdresser and a McDonald's, and like you can get your eyes checked there. They want you to stay there and get everything done, get your tires changed, like
I'm still waiting for the Walmart prostate exam. That'd be my favorite.
wait till you get the Walmart work from home.
I
You
mean,
go to
uh,
Walmart and work on like work a little office space in Walmart. Apparently, they're building podcast studios, so I'm excited to
at
see
Walmart?
that. Yeah, they want to franchise podcast studios. So if you're on the road, let's say you're a traveling comedian and you want uniformity with your backgrounds and mic quality and camera quality, you can rent a time in these podcast studios because they're just seeing that that's becoming like the space. There's so many people that parlay like internet fame into doing like a talk show of some kind to keep people engaged.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I'm kind of worried about now already. And I don't know, like it almost seems like conceited in a way or whatever. It's like I'm still learning what to do with this sudden random
Right.
it still feels weird calling it like internet fame because it's like it's been
Well, it
I
is.
think I think
We're
I'm
the
about to
attention economy, right? Like you're getting attention, then that's the economy that we live in. So it's like it's not ever gonna be like well, and who knows, but it's never gonna be like a constant like upward slope of like just gaining new fans. But you have heat on you at the moment and you have the right opportunity, like you've been doing stand up long enough that you're producing shows, mental health shout out, and that you can, promote those shows. Because if you just did this Wonderland thing and you had no previous anything to back it up, then I would say you should be
Hmm.
worried you have nothing to, back it up. But that's the beauty of like being a stand-up also is you have this other thing that people can now latch onto and stay with you.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Like, and it's like so like I'm literally working on this in therapy right now of just like what to do and handle, make sure that it's not taking over too much of my life.
Yeah.
Because like it's one of those like as a stand-up, like we would all love to go viral for something.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what, like create, put it out. If any stand-ups are watching this, or any creative, like just put stuff out there. You never know what's gonna hit. I
Yep.
literally recorded like a lazy, stupid video of me in a parking lot. It was just like I'm gonna come here every day for a year and a half and you know work from home from here. And
Yeah.
it like I've had almost probably like 2.5 to 3 million views on all my stupid
Crazy.
videos over the last like 2 weeks, which is what
Bananas.
I was on the CBC a week
Yeah.
ago on Monday. What an
Which is
un
something that we like aspire to just like through stand up. And it's like, wait, all I had to do is just like make a video of myself in a parking lot. Like what? That's what I like. It kills me when like, and I always say like, if I can offer this advice, but again, I could be totally wrong because nobody knows. Like I had Jeremy Hotz on the podcast and he was like laughing about how his career like took off and people were telling him like you got to stop putting your hand in front of your face. It's like blocking your mouth. They're not going to like that for TV. And like, that's his thing. He's like, that's what I love about it is there's no rules to it. Just do express creatively. And now you have the internet to just put it out there. Don't overthink anything because, analysis paralysis is a real thing. Like you can spend way too much time, you know,
Mhm.
of drawing the perfect hook for your video and what can I say to grab them in the first three. Just make it. Just make it
Yeah,
and put it out there. It really shouldn't
100%.
take that much of your brain to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to use this mantra lately where I just keep saying that like perfect is the enemy of good. If it's good enough, just put it out there,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And I think even going back to the Jeremy Hotz piece, it's like there's a level of authenticity where it's like if that's his shtick, people can rely. I'm sure there's lots of people who have like a physical tick that go like this.
Yeah.
You're gonna see me squint my eyes a bunch. I have like a physical tick from
Yeah.
just yeah, just like weird self-soothing stuff or
Oh, me on
whatever.
stage, I noticed this thing that I do on stage is just like a self-soothing thing is I have my hand on my stomach and I'm often just like rubbing my stomach. Like someone's talking to me about a meal they're gonna cook. It's just self-soothing. It just like calms me down on stage, but it's just like this funny thing that probably only I notice when I'm watching one of my videos. I'm like, why is my hand on my stomach the whole time?
I mean, we definitely overanalyze our own tape more than anybody else does what we do on stage. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm concentrating and like trying to remember a bit or something, I get like this scowl, like I'm like
Oh.
thinking like so hard. I'm like this, like I look like I'm upset. Like,
Yeah,
why is this
yeah,
guy
yeah.
so angry? He's talking about
You're
pancakes.
like,
Like,
oh, that's the funny thing I wanted. You just go right from like angry to excited. Oh, that's great. Tell me more about the concept for your show, mental health. Like you said that you have your own battle with mental health, and you went to CAMH, and now you were teaching classes as well, stand-up classes at CAMH.
Yeah, I mean, so we clarified at the beginning, ADHD, I can ramble about this for a long time. So like I guess give me some parameters to work within. Like, do you want to know
Oh,
like history from the beginning or like
whatever, man. We got till 8 o'clock. So you you talk as much as we don't have to do 8 million topics. We could do one topic for the whole podcast. It's totally on the fly. I'm happy.
cool. Well, if at any point it gets repetitive or annoying, cut me off
Yeah,
and
I'm
pivot to
good at
somewhere
cutting people
else.
off. I'll jump in.
Uh, but yeah, so I mean, I think it all, it all comes from my own mental health journey, and struggles with mental illness, right? I have bipolar type 2 and ADHD. Um, I was diagnosed with bipolar in early 2019. Prior to that, I was actually I was in like an outdoor adventure program at Algonquin College
Okay.
in Pembroke, and I was like studying to like be a whitewater rafting guide, canoe instructor, mountain biking dude, and I like my goal at that point was to move to Thailand and like run my own like little adventure company because I fell in love with Thailand. That was actually another bipolar episode. In 2016, on a week's notice, I moved to Thailand to go teach English after a 20-minute Skype. That's
How
right. That's how
long
long ago this is.
how
Skype
long were
interview.
you there for?
Not very long at all.
Okay.
It was
Because I
supposed
was
to
like,
be.
might have been in Thailand literally at the exact same time. That's so crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it was why. I mean, obviously, like I can look back at it now and know that that was definitely a manic episode where I was like,
Okay.
"Oh, this is such a great idea. This is amazing. Let's do it." I had literally a 20-minute Skype interview with this like school with the head of the English department of this like school in rural like bumblefuck nowhere Thailand, like
Nice.
4 hours away from Bangkok. I was the only white person for like miles and miles and miles anywhere. Um, and yeah, after 20 minutes, I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get my visa and like I'm hired there. And I had this little like bachelor apartment like right off a lake. It was like a 2-minute walk to school. I think my rent was like $125 a month.
That's crazy, dude.
It was wild. But then, with bipolar disorder, kind of, in simplistic terms, what goes up must come down. If
Hmm.
right usually after a manic episode comes a depressive episode. And so yeah, I kind of just had like for lack of a better word, I had a mental breakdown when I was in Thailand. And I wound up quitting my job, which was supposed to be like an 8-month term or something.
Hmm.
I quit after like a week and a half, left the school, went to Bangkok and just kind of like, was just boozing it up for like 2 weeks because I was like, I need to make the most of this opportunity while I'm here. I'm not having a fun time, but like, hey, if I drink a lot, maybe I'll forget that I'm sad. Um,
That's always
and
worked historically.
oh, very total
Yeah,
perfect. Who
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
I don't need my mood stabilizers. Never.
No, no, no,
No,
no.
just cheap Thai booze. That's the
Different
way to
type of
do
over
it.
the counter.
But yeah, so that happened in 2016. That was probably the biggest, right? And then I moved back home, and was just like literally like crippling depression on the couch for like 3, 4 months, like barely left the house at all.
Wow.
Um, and then I went through something very similar in 2018 after because I was class president in that outdoor adventure like program.
Wow.
I had like a 95 average. I was about to get like cool job offers, hopefully from like there was like rafting places in like Panama and Vancouver. I was already trying to look ahead towards the summer. Um, but yeah, I felt it kind of coming on in like maybe November, early December, but like I powered through just to like at least get the credits so that I
Right.
knew that I could go back. Um, but then yeah, so then I moved back home again. That's boomerang kid, I think is that right? Is that the term, a boomerang
Yeah.
kid?
Yeah,
And then again, kind of was on the couch in bed, depressed for like 4 months. And it was actually weirdly, it was a comedy special. Like this whole series of comedy specials came out on Netflix, called like Comedians of the World. And like the title would suggest, there's comedians from a bunch of different countries performing stand-up. They were all like about half-hour stand-up sets, in their own native languages. So, you had comedians from Spain doing jokes in Spanish, comedians from France doing jokes in French, etc., etc. And one really resonated with me. It was in the Canada English section. There was I'm sure you know Ivan Decker.
yes. Yeah, yeah.
Nice, like nicest guy, most amazing guy. Didn't know him at the time, obviously. But I saw his special and it was awesome. It was like probably the first time that I had like laughed or like experienced any sort of joy in like those 3, 4 months. And everybody kind of noticed around, and I watched it over and over and over again. Such like brilliantly written. Like anybody, I feel like it's still up on Netflix. I don't have Netflix money anymore, so I don't have it. But
I got the ad one. I convinced my girl I was paying for no ads, and I was like, I looked at my girlfriend, and I was like, "You grew up watching TV, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "We watched 5 minutes of commercials easily every single time." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I can watch a 30-second ad if it means paying $9 a month instead of $25 a month, going up to $30 a month." And she's like, "Yeah, we can do that." And I was like, "All right, let's just switch back."
no, that's a smart call. I mean,
Uh,
honestly, like it's ridiculous what
we
they're
got
charging
too,
now.
yeah, yeah, we got too, they treated us too well and we got used to it. Yeah, yeah.
It's the bait and switch, baby. It's the
Oh,
bait and switch.
totally.
But yeah, so I watched that special, and then my dad, like probably a couple years before that, had taken like an improv class at Second City with his buddy, and then we got
Cool.
to talking. My dad like did a couple of open mics like 20, 30 years ago. Uh,
Oh, cool.
he likes to affectionately refer to himself as like a has-been that never was. Um, there's some tape like we still have some like old tape of him performing on like this on a talent show on a cruise ship, and he
No
did like a
way.
Marceau impression, and that kind of dates how long ago that was.
Okay, yeah.
And so then we decided we were gonna sign up for a stand-up. I did stand-up 101. The two of us we went at Second City back in the old building before they tore it down for
Yeah.
condos,
Yeah, I did one there
Toronto.
too. It's great.
Amazing program.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Like it was so much. It was something that got me out of the house once a
Hmm.
week, right? And I was still just like very newly diagnosed with bipolar disorder, still sorting out my meds and everything. And like that course built up, like helped me build so much confidence. And just being around other people again is a great way again to kind of boost your mood. Getting out of the house is so important. Like number
Totally.
one thing is just be outside. If you're stuck in one place, it's so easy to just kind of like ruminate over everything and just think about how much you suck and
Yeah.
all the other negative shit you tell yourself. Um, and then yeah, like I was so confident by the end of it, I actually volunteered to go bullet. Like I went first in the graduation thing, and I just kind of like ran with it from there. Wasn't originally telling jokes about mental health at all. It was, your standard like white bearded bro dude
Yeah, yeah.
telling joke, and especially because when you get in the open mic scene, like there aren't a lot of places that like a brand new person can go,
Hmm.
where they're like super welcome and everything. And so you sometimes wind up in some places that are a little bit more broy, and then your jokes sometimes reflect that broy environment. And I don't stand up behind a lot of the jokes that I may or may not have written or said,
Sure, yeah, yeah.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy that it's been 6 years. I mean,
Time
you
flies,
gotta
man.
you gotta cut out some of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I
But
don't
you're
know what to
still
do
doing
with those
Zoom
years.
comedy, you know? Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I was, running with it, doing great. Started producing my own shows fairly early on, like after a couple months. I was running like shows in a coffee shop up in Aurora. I used to call it Cup of Jokes
Okay.
because I'm just a sucker for a good pun, hence
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
mental hell shows. And then the pandemic hit, and my mental health took a turn for the worse. Just kind of everything all at once. Like it doesn't matter what medication you're on.
Hmm.
Like medication isn't a panacea. It's not going to cure and fix everything. Like the
Right.
social determinants of mental health are so important too. There's not just one thing like, oh, you take an antidepressant or a mood stabilizer and you're just set. The world's not going to bother you. It's not like that at all.
Hmm.
And so yeah, like early 2020, cool. I had no job anymore because I was working as like a bartender slash beer sommelier
Okay.
in a brewery. It was great. I would like be able to give people tours of the brewery, explain like beer history and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
I did like a year and a half of courses on that. So lost my job. Couldn't see my partner at the time because she lived downtown and it was kind
Hmm.
of annoying. Eventually she wound up coming to move and stay here because like I'm recording this from my mom's basement. I'm a millennial trope.
Hey man, it's good to have a support system. You know, that's why I always say, like, I would hate to have to go back to my parents' house, but I know that if I was ever in a situation where I had to, like, that option is available, and I'm grateful for that option to be there. You know, because a
Hmm.
lot of people they don't have that. Like, their parents are
Hmm.
in another country, or they're like no longer with us, and they just
Hmm.
have to slug it out any way they can, and it takes a fucking toll, man. Like being able to have that support system and lean on it. I'm sure your parents like love it, love being able to still have you there. You know, maybe there's the odd, you're not doing your dishes or whatever, but at the end of the day, they probably are really happy that you're there.
Well, it's actually an even cooler set. I recognize my immense place of privilege. I'm so thankful that I'm able to live here with my mom. My parents are actually divorced.
Uh,
And my dad. There was a point in time where I was like splitting time between their places, and it was like, this is annoying. I'm moving
you're
all
like
my
two
stuff. Like,
apartments, sick.
but like I actually have like it's a fully functional basement apartment.
Oh, sick.
So it's like I have my own space,
Oh,
which is
that's
dope.
great.
so that when I do inevitably ADHD the dishes and they're just like built up,
Yeah,
nobody's upset but me.
yeah. There you go. All right, yeah, that's good. You got yourself covered. Nice.
But yeah, I feel like pe there's so much stigma around like especially like homelessness, right?
Hmm.
Where like 100% I can tell you today confidently that if I didn't have a support system, the support system of my parents, I probably would have been on the street, be it after that Thailand fiasco or after the whitewater rafting fiasco, like all these different times where like I had no money. I just spent a buttload of money moving to
Right.
Thailand and doing all that. Wasn't being paid. It was being paid good wages for Thailand, but not wages to come back to North America. Not to mention when you're in a 4 month long deep bipolar type 2 depression, it's not like you can work. It's not like you could do anything, right? Like you're
Right.
effectively disabled. And like if I had a job at that time, you know, I would have lost it, obviously. Um, and so I feel, and that's just like the mental health stuff. Like there's physical things too that can happen to people. Like
Yeah.
any person who isn't like independently wealthy is literally one accident or mental health episode away from potentially losing their dwelling. And I
Hmm.
feel like not enough people acknowledge that, and that there's still so much stigma and people, there's so much victim blaming
Hmm.
of the homeless population of just like, oh, well, like if they just pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, or like, oh, you got
Yeah.
to work harder. And it's like,
You're like, this guy
how do
doesn't even have an ID. How do you want him to, you know what I mean? Like, where do you want him to print off his resume? Where do you like, come on, dude. Like,
how are they going to pay him?
yeah,
How
like,
are you going
yeah,
to pay this
there's
person?
so many like societal roadblocks in the way for a homeless person to be able to take them off the street. And then at the same time, like these centers, they're doing the best that they can, providing like basic necessities. But even that gets maxed out because the sheer volume of people that need those resources, like
Mm.
it's just insane.
Oh,
And the craziest part is like, if it was just something that more people, I don't know, put their time and effort into, or like focused on, even for, we have like all of these months that we, or holidays, these made up holidays even that we like celebrate and put focus onto. It's like, can we have like a homelessness awareness week where everyone
hmm.
just goes to their local soup kitchen, or they donate a bunch of stuff, or they here's a list of things that you can do to help, and the government kind of blasts that out, and just, even if one person donates like a sweater that they don't wear anymore, that's going to help somebody out, or anything. Imagine if the whole country for 1 week put all of our focus on your off time. You still got to work your 9 to 5, but from 5 to 6 once a week to put your fucking energy into that, it would change it overnight.
Oh, I mean, like even people get upset about that. Like people are like, why not just put like why don't we build government housing or something for everybody to live in? Like just to have a
Yeah.
roof over people's heads. And people are like,
Hmm.
oh, well, like that would cost too much money and blah blah blah. It's like it would actually
Yeah.
cost less money than
Yeah.
all the crime and
The
trips
pressure
to
it
the
puts on the
ER.
cities, yeah, yeah, the pressure that it puts on the city, for sure. It's like, it seems, because investors, they always want to know, well, what's my return on this investment? And like, the return on the investment is going to be lower crime and more workforce, because it's like,
Hmm.
not, of course there are people who, like, and maybe they tell themselves this, but they will, like, you could give them a bunch of money and they're gonna find a way to spend it all on drugs. That person has an addiction issue. That is another thing that needs to be treated, and its own, that's its own separate thing. But there are plenty of people. I'll never forget this, and this is the most heartbreaking thing that I ever heard in my life. When I lived in like Dundas Square-ish type area, middle of the pandemic, it was like 2020 to 2021, and I'm standing in line in Tim Hortons, and there's like a social worker, and she's with like a homeless person. They're behind me. She's getting him some food, and I remember hearing the social worker say to the homeless guy, when I was homeless, she said, like, she literally was homeless, and then she worked her way up to be a social worker to help other homeless people. Fucking like, what a saint. You
That's
know what I mean?
huge.
Like, that's huge. She was like, I would just watch people going to work in the morning and thinking, man, if I could just get to that, if I could just get to a point where I had a job to go to. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. But it's so true. You know, like
Hmm.
you think that these people like, oh, I'm gonna give him $1, he's gonna go spend it on crack or whatever. It's like you don't know that. He might use a meal that's gonna give him energy to go do something else, to find a way to be part of society. Most people don't want to be on the outskirts of society. Most people like it when you look them in the eyes and smile at them. They don't want you to be
Hmm.
like, they don't want to be this bothersome like thing in your life where they're like they need money, so they have to ask for money, and you're like, ugh, get away from me. It's like
Yeah. It's
fucking, it's
I
crazy.
actually used to work, and this, like there's so many tangents that I have from what you just said. I love that story. That's so amazing. Reminds me a lot of just peer. Are you familiar with peer support?
No,
Like
no,
peer
what's that?
support work? So peer support work is essentially the best example that I can give for people who don't know what peer support is. Like AA. AA is a peer support group,
Okay.
right? And essentially
Yeah.
what it is, a peer support group is just people with similar lived experience get in a room and all kind of, and sometimes it can be one-on-one. You have
Yeah.
one-on-one peer support too. But in a group, it's, you get around and it's people who have similar lived experience who kind of can just share their experiences. There's a lot
Mm,
of just healing and just having
yeah.
somebody else who has been through the same thing. Um, and then, right, the number one rule of peer support is that there's no advice giving. Like, you don't say, like, hey, you should do this. But it comes more from a place of, hey, you've told me that you're struggling with this. I actually struggle with something similar. Here's what I did, and here's what helped me get through that situation. And you can take as much or as little from that as you want. And if you take nothing, that's also okay too. There's still just value in being able to share things in an open space and feel safe to do so without fear of judgment because you know everybody else in the room has been through a similar thing and there's no stigma in there. You know what's said
Totally.
there is stays there. There's an element of obviously of confidentiality. And I actually used to that's kind of so after I was in CAMH, right, I spent 7 weeks in the hospital, got out and then got my peer support certification, and started working as a peer support worker
Okay.
for a community housing nonprofit that worked with formerly homeless folks, and and so I was going out on like coffee walks with everybody and kind of just folks who had similar diagnoses, be it mood disorders or whatnot, and just kind of helping them through stuff and just being a nice sounding, an
Mhm.
empathetic sounding board. And there's that element too of like, being a peer support worker or being a social worker and having been through that same experience, to say like, yeah, like look where I am now. Like this is it, not in like a holier than thou or like a self-righteous kind of way, but more just like a, hey, here's this kind of like beacon of hope. Like, look, it can get better. You can get out of this situation. I was in the same situation as you, and look at me now. And that's kind of what I try and do with the comedy too. I think
Mhm.
I think comedy, to bring it back to the mental health thing, is that, yeah, like I like to use comedy as an educational tool for one, to kind of break stigma.
Oh
It's
yeah.
also an element of peer support that it's like if people who come to these shows, because obviously like I market them in a very specific way. You see on the posters like, hey, this is affiliated with CAMH, or now more recently I've also partnered with the Canadian Mental Health Association in Toronto.
Very nice.
Um, and so like one like the association name is on the poster. I explain like right away on the Eventbrite, like here's what it is. Here's a content warning. We might talk about suicidal ideation or depression or hospitalization, medication, all those things.
Mhm.
Some of the stuff that people sometimes feels like a little bit too taboo or like, oh, like I don't want to hear people talk about that. It's heavy, but I feel like the more we talk about it, the more normalized it becomes, and the more comfortable people are having those conversations with the people in their lives.
Totally.
And you can kind of stave off problems before they happen. You can be proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah. And there's something like I had this thought earlier today too about like you can't always change someone's mind or way of doing things by telling them that they're doing something wrong or that they should do it this way. You almost have to like lead by example. Like if you want someone to live their life a certain way and they're close to you or whatever, or they're in this peer group, you living your life the way that you think is the right way to live it, right? They're going to, like you said, take bits and pieces of that and then apply it to their own life. Just because they see, and I do this with comedy too, like early on, I started comedy at 19. So I like the jealousy was just, untethered. Like I couldn't control it. I couldn't control how, shitty it would make me feel when I saw somebody get something, whether it was like booked on a show that I really wanted to be on, or like come up with a great joke. My brain would just go right to negativity and pessimism and be like, oh, fuck them. And why did they come? Why did they get that? And, I deserve that. Da, da, da. And now I look at it as like, good for them. That's awesome. They worked for that. They got the thing that they wanted. That should be aspirational and should prove that there is a way to do this.
Hmm.
There is a pathway to success in this industry, speaking comedy specifically, but to anything. Like you were saying, like they see the way you've been able to turn things around to the point where you're now like running these comedy workshops, running these comedy shows, helping people like process these very traumatic things in their life in a humorous way and really rewire the way that their brain is thinking about it. Like, hats off to you, man. That's really
Thank,
admirable.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like I was inspired to do this by another comedian. But I'm sure you're familiar with Gary Gulman,
Yes,
right?
yeah, yeah,
He's every
yeah,
comedian's favorite comedian. Like,
yeah.
he's just such a brilliant, brilliant mind. And that was after spending 7 weeks at Cam H, on suicide watch, and I wound up having right. They put me on lithium, and it didn't
Nice.
take. And so they moved on to a treatment known as ECT. That's electroconvulsive therapy, or
Wow.
sometimes people know right, would know it as shock therapy,
Right.
which has its own crazy amount of stigma. Probably the most vilified and misunderstood treatment in all of medicine.
Next to
Um,
probably the ice pick is probably the most
that
vilified.
too, yeah. Well, thankfully, I don't think they do lobotomies in
Yeah,
like
yeah,
civilized nations anymore.
yeah. So
But
insane.
right, because like all anybody knows is like one flew over the cuckoo's nest, and I actually a
Yeah,
lot of my
yeah.
like I try and use it humor as a tool to kind of dispel rumors and stuff about
Mhm.
that.
Right.
And so when I got out of the psych ward, because again I had never written jokes about mental health yet, and I was kind of in my recovery. Somebody, I forget who, told me like, "Oh, hey, have you seen this special? It's Gary Gulman. It was an HBO special called The Great Depression." And
Mm.
it just felt like he was me, but like 20 years older. Like,
Wow.
fell into a deep depression. He moved back home with his mom. He went to the spent several weeks in the hospital, had ECT, and like rebuilt his life, and was like felt like and then put out this special with like all mental health jokes. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, there's a market for that? Like people want to hear that? And so that's kind of what I was working on throughout the whole pandemic.
Wow.
And actually since then, I could talk about this forever, but I've actually had like lunch with Gary
Oh,
now.
cool.
I slid into his DMs on Instagram like 2 years ago because he came to record his last special, Born on Third Base, here in Toronto
Oh, nice.
at the Great Hall. I went with Dan Rosen, and shout out Dan Rosen, he's
Yeah.
great. And yeah, we sat front row center. So like if you actually watch the special back, you could occasionally when they clip to the audience, you could see us
Oh, that's
like once or
great.
twice. And he's notorious. He does like meet and greets. Um, but like we went to the late show, he did like two tapings. It's like he was like on stage like and nerved up from like probably like 5 or 6 p.m. until like I think our show ended shortly after midnight. So there was no meet and greet. So I was like a little disappointed because like I was like, oh my God, you're like the inspiration behind all that, like all the good work that I'm doing is because of you and you're
Mm.
special. And so I kind of told him that like in a very like in a not creepy way, in a DM slide.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
got back
yeah.
literally within like I think 10 or
Wow.
20 minutes, got back to me. He was like, this is such a lovely message. If you're ever in New York, let's meet up. I'll buy you lunch or whatever. I didn't tell him this, but like I just purposely went to New York and was like, oh yeah, I just have a reason in September. And we got to chat a little bit. He was
Uh,
really busy at the time because
yeah.
he just put out his memoir, Misfit.
Okay.
Um, but we still got to spend a little bit of time together. And then yeah, a year ago in September, he came to do some shows in London. And so yeah, I met him for lunch and like we got to have like a nice long chat. And Gary, if you wind up seeing this, I
Well,
wanna like
I did actually reach out to Gary and ask him to be on the podcast, and he
yeah,
said no.
you said fuck that
And
guy.
I was like, you know what? I respect that. I respect a no much more than because a no could mean anything. A no could mean it doesn't really like suit my schedule. A no could mean like I prefer to do in-person interviews. A no could mean I don't really know you. Usually do people's But he said no, and I was like, totally respect that. Thank you for responding. The
Oh,
thing I hate the most was people that just don't read the message ever or just read it and never respond. It's like, at least give me a no. Tell me you're too busy to do the show. I'm fine with that. I'll circle back, as they say.
okay, so you actually reached out. I thought you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
just
yeah.
I thought you were doing a bit. You were
No,
like,
no,
well,
no,
actually, I
legit.
reached out to Gary and here he is. And then and he was just gonna like pop
He
into
just
the
pops
fucking
in.
Zoom room.
That's so funny. I wonder if
Well,
I.
what you have to do is send him a really depressing message, talking about how you were also in the psych ward and had ECT, and now teach a stand-up therapy program at Canada's largest mental health hospital,
Yeah,
and
send me
raise
your
thousands.
message and I'll send it to him. That would be so funny if he responds to that.
No, honestly, he's
Uh,
the nicest
no,
guy.
no, I
Like
could tell.
I was floored. I was like, there's no like, you know, it's taught me, and this is right. So I have perfect as the enemy of good. Another mantra is like, if you don't ask, you don't get. And
Right.
that's so true, not just in comedy, especially in
Yeah.
comedy. Like sometimes you just ask a producer, hey, can I be on your show? I like your show. Like there's so many people. There's so many people around, so many comedians who can be booked on things or who book other things. And
Yeah.
like tons of people want to be on on my mental health shows. And I like always feel terrible saying like
It's the
it's
hardest
never
thing about being a producer. It's the hardest thing. Yeah.
it's never like
Filtering
a
through it all.
no. It's never like an immediate no, except for like a couple of people who like are just maybe a little bit too problematic or like their
Sure.
jokes just aren't don't fit the theme.
They don't
But
fit
it's
the
usually
theme.
just
Yeah.
like a not right now because like I only have 3 spots a show, and I only run them like there was a point in time where I was running it as a monthly, but it was
Mhm.
just so much effort just on me because like I'm designing the posters using a logo that my ex partner Drew made
Nice.
and they're great logos, they're awesome logos, and then I just kind of put people's pictures in on top of it and all the info and like have to just rejigger a couple things every month. I'm printing the posters, I'm putting them up all over Toronto. I do like 300 to 500 posters a show,
Damn.
communicating back and forth. The red tape with the hospital, right? Um, they were on board like right away. Like I reached out to them, I think like early 2021, or no, late 2021, early 2022, which is like, hey, I was a former patient. I do comedy. I tell a lot of jokes about my experience in the hospital and with bipolar. Um, and I was very upfront with them. I'm like, I tell suicide jokes, but like about myself. Like I think that's
Right.
the key part too, and
Yeah,
having
yeah.
that peer support element in it, that it's like I'm not just making broad fun of like, oh hey, isn't it dumb to be suicide or whatever. It's like,
Right,
no,
yeah.
like here's my personal experience. Here's how silly it is trying to plan to before I say this, like content warning, I'm going to describe something about suicide.
Yeah.
Um, that like, exploring the hilarious minutia of the concept of trying to hang yourself in a basement apartment. Like, I touched the ceiling standing up. What the fuck was I gonna do? Like, hold my legs up the whole time?
And you
Like,
don't want to do it like from a closet because you don't want people to think you died of erotic asphyxiation or anything stupid like that. You're like, no, no, no. I want them to know this was because of depression.
yeah, exactly, right?
I wasn't trying to
I
get a
didn't
wank
come.
off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no coming involved.
I just died. I didn't even get to, not even one last nut. What a terrible way to go.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, Brian, there's one question that I always ask everyone at the end of the
Mhm.
podcast. And the question is essentially, what advice would you give to your younger self? But I like to preface it with a bit of context. I want you to think of you at 15 years old. It's such a crucial point in a lot of people's lives where they're not a kid anymore, they're not really an adult, they're a teen, they're being told to figure out what they want to do. And the phone rings and it's you now with your lived experience, and you can give your younger self a piece of advice based on everything that you've lived so far. What do you say to your younger self?
One, I love that you're ripping this question off of RuPaul. At the end of it, I just need people to know that I'm cool and I
I
watch
just don't
RuPaul's
have a
Drag
photo. I
Race.
just don't have a photo of yourself.
Yeah,
That'd be so crazy
you
if I had
should
a
have asked me.
printed photo of yourself. I didn't even ask you. You're like, how'd you get that?
Just me like at an Ailstorm concert at 13. That's like my
Yeah.
badass like
It's like
former
such an
profile
obscure
pic.
photo. Not even on the internet. Uh,
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Again, it's tough for me to maybe just say one. I could give like a
yeah.
cop out answer, kind of just like one. I think take your time. Take your time because there's so much pressure to like immediately decide what you're going to do with your whole life. You know, I wish like at the time that I had maybe taken a gap year, right, or done a victory lap or something at the end of high
Hmm.
school because like I was so in that mentality of like, oh, I'm going to go to business school, then I'm going to get a law degree, and then I'm going to do whatever. I wound up getting talked out of going and getting a law degree by my third year business law professor. Love her to bits. No, no, it was a really, really nice, sweet moment where she was just like, she kind of like just disillusioned me, like broke down like what the actual career path would look like. And she's like,
Mm.
I don't think this is right for you. I'm like, honestly, yeah, thank you. Like it wasn't like mean. I was like one of her
Mm.
favorite students. I had like a 94 in the class.
Damn.
That's what took me aback. I was like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I'm doing so good in this. But yeah, I think taking your time and then again, like perfect is the enemy of good. Like just do stuff. Try something. It's okay to be bad at something, you know. I think that's an issue that I'm realizing more and more. I hate that the older I get, the more I realize that like so many of my quirks of just like personality traits are just was just like undiagnosed mental illness. Of just like, oh,
The
like I
worst.
was
You're like,
really happy and had all these great ideas and did all this cool shit. I went backpacking through Europe when I was 18 and went running with bulls and moved to Thailand and did all this shit. It's like I was probably just a little bit manic when I was doing some of those things. Uh,
it's better as a retrospect. You're like, hmm.
but yeah, I think just yeah, being true to yourself and just try things. It's okay not to be good at something right away because like again with the ADHD, it's like if I'm not good at something right away, I'm like, well shit, I'm not getting that dopamine hit. I'm not feeling good about it.
Hmm.
And you know, you never know what's gonna hit. Case in point, I was on national news to talk about opening my laptop in a lounge at fucking Wonderland.
That's
What
crazy.
an unbelievable. I mean, only a stand-up comedian could make the news for something so fucking ridiculous.
It's great. You got to keep that energy about it too. You should, every interview, you should be like, first of all, I just want to recognize how dumb this is.
I
But yeah, yeah,
literally said
but
that.
ask away your questions.
I think I literally like I have to listen back to it because it's still a
Yeah.
fever dream. The
Yeah.
interview was at 7:20 in the morning downtown. I live in the burbs. Thankfully, my friend Kim let me crash. She had a spare
Yeah.
bedroom and at her place in Chinatown. So it wasn't that bad of a walk to get there. But like, yeah, I got to the studio at like 6:45 in the morning. That's the earliest I'd been up in over a decade.
That's
I'm like,
crazy. Yeah, especially as a comedian. Like we don't get up past 11 usually.
that's generous.
Yeah, yeah. Generous
No,
before
I tr
noon is the generous.
I try to get to the office
Yeah.
at Wonderland by like 12:30 or 1 is a good
Oh,
day
there
for
you
me.
go. I love that. I'm going to share your stuff here for people watching on YouTube. Thank you. Hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, hit follow. All the episodes come out on audio platforms at 10 a.m. on Friday, and then the video comes out on Fridays at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. You can follow Ryan. It's Ryan Zeitz Comedy on Instagram, and I'm sure many other platforms. We've got the link tree here. All these links are always in the description below, so you can go check out all his stuff. And your next show is October 9th. Is this correct?
Yeah, October 9th. Yeah, it's actually oh my God, and seeing that I actually have to I have to change the it says in support of CAMH. This one's actually in support of the CMHA. Uh
Okay.
and CMHA Toronto. So thank you. You just pointed out a mistake that I made.
All
Like
good. It'll be
no
fixed by then.
it'll be fixed by that. It'll say CMHA Toronto. Yeah, it's at K
Yeah.
Cabaret at 627 Danforth Avenue. All the profits from the show are being donated to the Toronto branch of the Canadian Mental Health Association.
Cool.
And more specifically, because like last, I did my first show with them again at K Cabaret on May 9th. It was incredible. What a beautiful, beautiful venue. It seats 150 people. They do cabaret and drag shows there
Wow.
all the time,
Cool.
club nights, sapphic nights. Like it's a really, really cool space, owned and operated by really awesome people. Um, and yeah, so this time, and they donated the space.
Oh,
They're
nice.
unbelievably generous, like because like they could like you could have a wedding there. It's that beautiful of
Wow.
a space. Like it
That's
feels
awesome.
way too bougie for my dumb ass. Um, but yeah, so that first show we donated because the fundraising team at CMHA, they were like, "Oh, we want to make this like extra special. Let's donate this money to a specific branch of our organization."
Ah,
So last time it
okay.
went actually and on theme with kind of what we talked earlier was the Housing First program. the May 9th show was donated over $1,000 to the Housing First program, which helps formerly homeless people find housing
That's
uh,
great.
and access, mental health and addiction support. And then this time, from the October 9th show, all the profits are being given to their mobile crisis teams. And they're, try to be the first responders when somebody's having a mental health crisis, as
Wow.
opposed to the police who can sometimes exacerbate things and
Get a
just make
little
things
trigger
worse.
happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, man,
Unfortunately.
yeah. Well, man, thanks so much for, making the time to hang on here with me. It was a blast, and I'm moving back to Toronto, so I'll probably
Oh,
see
hell
you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be there in September.
Oh my God, awesome. You have to pop by the office sometime.
Yeah,
I get I
definitely.
get, I get bring a friend passes.
There you go. Cool, cool. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll hit you up for sure. All right, man. Have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, later.
Cheers.